Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So our group we will present about the safety and security regulation in shipping and analyze the effectiveness and global implementation of SOLAS, ISM, ISPS and IMDG codes. So this is my group member. So first me, Nosofia Balkis, Siti Nordani Shinai, Hemalushini and Pani Mugil. So here the contents include introduction, literature review and background, main analysis, discussion and recommendation, and conclusion and reference. For the first one is introduction. The SOLAS, ISM, ISPS and IMDG codes are vital in ensuring global maritime safety and security. So SOLAS, safety of life at sea, establish a minimum standard for ship construction, equipment and operation. The ISM code, international safety management, emphasizes the importance of structured safety management system within a shipping companies. The ISPS code, international ship and port security, strengthen security measure for both ship and port facilities. And the IMDG code, International Maritime Dangerous Code, govern the safe handling and transport for hazardous material by sea. So our group members will explain about SOLAS, ISM code, ISPS code and IMDG code to more detail.
One of the most significant regulation is the SOLAS, Safety of Life at the Sea Convention. Originally introduced in 1914 after the Titanic disaster, and it is the cornerstone of international maritime safety, ensuring that ships comply with minimum standards of their design, construction, equipment, and operation to protect life at sea. The current version, SOLAS 1974, came into force in 1980 and it's continuously amended to address emerging technologies and new safety concerns. Next, the International Safety Management ISM code, adopted by the International Maritime Organization IMO in 1993 and made mandatory in 1998 under SOLAS Chapter 9, addresses the human and managerial factor behind the maritime accident. Its main purpose is to promote the safe operation of the ship and the prevention of maritime pollution through the Structured Safety Management System (SMS). This system ensures that shipping companies establish proper safety procedure and clear responsibilities at both shore and shipboard level. In response to growing threat of terrorism, especially after September 11, 2001 attack, the International Ship and Port Facilities Security ISPS code was implemented on July 1, 2004 as part of SOLAS Chapter 9-2. This regulation established a standardized international framework aimed at identifying and preventing security threats to the ship and port facilities. It requires ship and port to conduct security assessment and develop security plan to mitigate potential risks. Lastly, the International Maritime Dangerous Code (IMDG) code was developed to regulate and transportation of hazardous material by sea. Backed up by SOLAS Chapter 7 and MARPOL Annex 3, the IMDG code is essential in ensuring the safety handling, packaging, and documentation of dangerous cargo. It is updated every 2 years to incorporate the latest scientific and technical advancements, helping to minimize risk of vessel, crew, cargo, and the environment.
Now, we look at the main analysis. Under safety regulation, there are three types of the regulation that we use for safety, which is a SOLAS, which is the International Convention for the Safety of Life at the Sea. ISM code, which is the International Safety Management Code, STCW, which is Standard of Training, Certification and Watchkeeping. SOLAS is the most critical maritime safety treaty which applies to all the signatory flag states. It is very important for construction rules for the stability and watertight integrity, fire protection and detection system, and also important for life-saving appliances like lifeboat, life jacket, rescue boats, and so on. Also, it is important to the safety management system. It is a SOLAS compliance which ships can be denied port entry in an insurance coverage. For an example, many shipping companies invest in SOLAS compliant equipment to rescue cargo insurance from providers like Lloyd's. The International Safety Management Code, which is the ISM code, it enforces a structured safety management system for a vessel and shore officers. It also includes a procedures for emergency responses, audits, and crew accountability. Finally, it also requires document compliance and safety management certificates. For an example, over 95% of the ships in the international trade use the ISM certificate according to IMO report. Finally, we look for a STCW, which is Standard of Training, Certification and Watchkeeping. It ensures the seafarers are trained, qualified, and medically fit for the seafaring. Another thing is, it covers the bridge watchkeeping, engine room operation, and crisis management. Finally, the STCW also encourages simulators and advanced training technologies. For the risk prevention, it is prevent the incident like fatigue-related accidents and uncoordinated emergency response. So by this, we ensure the safety and efficient voyage around the world. So in a conclusion, these three are very important regulations that we must be occupied as a seafarer. Another hand, let me look at the security regulations that are very useful in the voyage planning and also for the navigation. For an example, there are 4 types of the regulation that are used for seafaring. First of all, it is ISPS code, which is an International Ship and Port Facility Security Code. Secondly, Cyber Security Integration. Thirdly, Piracy and Maritime Terrorism Response Regulation. Finally, Port Facility Security Standards. For the ISPS code, we split into a part of A and also B. The A is a mandatory and part B is a guidelines. It applies to all the vessels that is the gross tonnage of 500 GT on the international voyages. It is used under a ship and port facilities security plans. And also it is useful for the security drills, audits and access controls. Most importantly, it is also used for the ship security alert system, which is very important in a navigation. If there is any failure comply with the vessel, can result in a detention and ports under the port state's control regime. For an example, we can say several vessels from non-compliant flags to have been blacklisted or denied access to EU ports. Secondly, let me look at the cyber security integration, which is under a post 2021 IMO mandate. IMO regulation MSC 428 in bracket 98, which is a cyber risk management, must be part of the ISM code. Threats vectors include GPS spotting, active hacking, and ship control system instruction, which include the engine and also ballast tank. As we look at for a case study for the cyber security integration, we can take an example of the Maersk cyber attack, which is happened in 2017, which is NotPetya malware shut down 17 terminals worldwide. It is total loss will be $300 millions. It is really a big amount of the money we are in a lost. So from this we can learn as a lesson, shipping is a part of a critical national infrastructure. Thirdly, let me look at the piracy and maritime terrorism response regulations. In worldwide, the most hot zones for the piracy is the Gulf of Guinea, Red Sea, South China Sea. So From this, whenever we are under voyage of this track, must be very careful. So the most important response we should be take is best management practices, armed guard on board, like controversial in some jurisdictions, maritime domain awareness initiates, and so on. As the research said, IMB reports a 65% reduction in a small piracy since coordinated naval patrols began from 2,800 until 2021. Finally, we look at the port facility security standards, which is enforced via ISPS and local maritime authorities like USCGS and TSA. Then it is a critical element involved in it is a surveillance systems, which is CCTV, motion detection, and so on, biometric and RFID crew identification, cargo scanning using the X-ray, gamma ray, dogs, and so on. There are many things I have. For a best example, we can take as a port of Rotterdam, which is combines ISPS, AI, and cyber integrated terminal operation to prevent smuggling and also the attacks among the area. So these are the important regulations that we must be known, and be more careful during the voyage management and also during the navigation.
Next, let's discuss the SOLAS, ISM code, ISPS code, and also the IMG code. For the SOLAS, it's highly effective due to the almost universal ratification, and then enforce life-saving equipment, vessel integrity, and construction standards. So the challenges they are facing is varying enforcement by flag states, especially flags of convenience. And then for ISM code, introduce safety culture with safety management systems, which is SMS. And then many shipping companies comply formally but not practically. For example, Costa Cornida highlighted poor safety practices despite ISM certification. And then for ISPS code, improved port and also ship security after 9th November. And then it's effective in developed parts, for example, in Singapore and also the Rotterdam. And then the problem they are facing is under implementation in developing nations due to the funds or also training. And then for IMGG code, it ensures a safe transport of hazardous goods and then reduces fire, explosion, and contamination risk. And then weak enforcement in some ports leads to the disasters like Beirut 2020. Next, let's see the recommendations. First, strengthen monitoring and audits, enhance training and safety culture, promote technology all integration, international funding for developing nations, harmonize implementation with trade bodies. Lastly, improve incident reporting and also transparency.
So, for the last one is conclusion. International maritime regulation like SOLAS, ISM, ISPS, and IMDG codes have a greatly improved ship safety and security. However, challenges remain in enforcement, especially in developing countries. Real-world effectiveness depends on strong wind, technological adoption, and international cooperation. Enhancing audits, sharing data, and supporting under-resourced of port are key to safer global shipping. So that's all information from our group about safety and security regulation in shipping. So thank you for your attention.